Think your Irish last name just means you're from Ireland? Think again. The name you carry wasn't handed out at random. It was earned on battlefields, inscribed in royal genealogies, and protected through centuries of fire and conquest, in kingdoms that existed 1,000 years before England ever set foot on the island. Stay until number 1, because that surname belongs to a dynasty whose genetic signature has been traced in an estimated 3 million men alive today, all descending from a single king. Your name isn't just Irish, it's a kingdom, a king, a lineage that refused to disappear. Number 10. O'Malley. In Irish, O'Mail, a name meaning chief or noble. The O'Malley dynasty ruled the coastline of Umhall in what is now County Mayo. The most famous bearer was Grace O'Malley, the 16th century sea captain remembered as the Pirate Queen of Ireland, who in 1593 sailed to London to negotiate directly with Queen Elizabeth I, meeting the most powerful monarch in Europe as an equal. If your name is O'Malley, your bloodline ruled the Atlantic edge of Ireland and produced a woman who answered to no king. Number 9. McCarthy. From the Gaelic Mac Carthay, a name meaning loving. The McCarthys were the leading family of the Eoganacht, the royal kindred that ruled Munster from the fortress of Cashel. They ruled the kingdom of Desmond, much of modern Cork and Kerry, for the better part of 500 years. They built and held Blarney Castle, whose famous stone still draws visitors from across the world today. Number 8. O'Sullivan. From the Gaelic O'Swiliabhain, built on Suil, meaning eye. The O'Sullivans, of the same Eoganacht kindred as the McCarthys, ruled the Beara Peninsula and the country around Bantry Bay. The name is carried into history by Donald Cam O'Sullivan Bear. In the winter of 1602, after his castle of Dunboy fell to English forces, he led roughly 1,000 of his people on a desperate 200-mile march north through hostile country in bitter cold. Only a small fraction survived. If your name is O'Sullivan, your bloodline endured one of the most harrowing retreats in Irish history. Number 7. McSweeney. From the Norse name Svein, a young warrior, absorbed so completely into the Gaelic world that it became one of Ireland's most feared military dynasties. The McSweeneys were Galloglass, Scottish Gaelic mercenary warriors from the Western Isles who crossed to Ireland in the 13th century as elite heavy infantry for the great northern kings, fighting with a ferocity English observers recorded in fear and grudging admiration. 3 branches served as hereditary military commanders to the O'Donnell kings of Tir Chonai, passing the profession of war from father to son. Number 6. O'Rourke. In Irish, O'Ruaich, from a Norse name so fully absorbed it became indistinguishable from a native Irish one. The O'Rourke dynasty ruled Breifne, straddling what are now counties Leitrim and Cavan. The most consequential bearer was Teiganan O'Ruaich, whose wife Derbfagail was carried off by Diarmait mac Murchada, king of Leinster, feeding a bitter feud that drove Diarmait from Ireland to seek foreign help and setting in motion the events that brought the Normans across the sea in 1169. Number 5. Kavanagh, the name carried by the descendants of Mac Murchada, but the name is bound forever to one man, Diarmait mac Murchada, king of Leinster. Driven out in 1166, Diarmait did what no Irish king had done before. He crossed to Wales, won King Henry II's leave to recruit mercenaries, and returned with a force led by Richard de Clare, known as Strongbow. What followed was the invasion of 1169, the beginning of 7 centuries of English involvement in Ireland. Number 4. O'Connor, from the Gaelic O'Conchobhair, son of Conchobar, a name borne by the dynasty that produced the last men ever to rule as High Kings of all Ireland. The O'Connor kings were the dominant power of Connaught, ruling from what is now County Roscommon. Tuedhelbach O'Conchobhair was one of the most powerful kings of 12th century Ireland, and his son Ruaidri, Rory O'Connor, became the last High King. It was Rory who expelled Diarmait mac Murchada from Leinster, and Rory who then faced the Norman forces Diarmait brought back across the sea. He could not hold the island together against them, and with his reign the old High Kingship of Ireland effectively came to an end. Number 3. O'Donnell, from the Gaelic O'Domnail, son of Domnall, a name meaning world ruler. The O'Donnells were kings and lords of Tir Chonail, most of what is now County Donegal. The name reaches its height with Red Hugh O'Donnell, who became a central commander in the 9 Years' War, the great Gaelic resistance to English conquest. When that war was lost, the O'Donnell and O'Neill leaders fled Ireland together in 1607, in the event remembered as the Flight of the Earls, a moment historians mark as the end of the old Gaelic Ireland. Number 2. O'Brien. From the Gaelic O'Brien, descendants of Brian, and specifically Brian Boru, the High King whose name towers over every other in the island's early history. Brian rose from the Dal Gacash, a dynasty of Munster overshadowed for generations by the royal houses around it, and through conquest, diplomacy and sheer will, he united the island enough to be recognised across it as Ard Rí, High King, something no Irish ruler had managed before. His defining moment came at the Battle of Clontarf in 1014 against a coalition of Norse and rival Irish forces, the single most celebrated engagement in Irish history. His side carried the day, but Brian did not live to enjoy it. According to tradition, he was killed in his tent as the battle ended. If your name is O'Brien, your bloodline traces in name to the greatest king Ireland ever produced. Number 1. O'Neill. From the Gaelic O'Neill, descendants of Niall, a name meaning champion. The Uí Níl were the dominant power in Ulster for more than 1,000 years, their line reaching back to Niall of the Nine Hostages, the legendary 5th century High King. Hugh O'Neill, Earl of Tyrone, led the 9 Years' War against the English crown, and his victory at the Battle of the Yellow Ford in 1598 stands among the heaviest defeats English forces ever suffered in Ireland. But the most extraordinary part of this story is written in DNA. Genetic research published in 2006 by Trinity College Dublin identified a Y chromosome signature concentrated heavily in the northwest of Ireland, exactly where Niall's power was centered, carried today by an estimated 2 to 3 million men worldwide. Not mythology. Genetics. If your name is O'Neill, your bloodline may descend from the most powerful king Ireland ever produced. 10 surnames, 10 dynasties, leading back through annals written by candlelight, through battles fought with axe and spear on Irish hillsides, and through the long, deliberate effort to erase a civilization that refused to disappear. Your name isn't just Irish. It's a lineage that survived everything the world threw at it and reached somehow this present moment. So drop your surname in the comments and tell me which Irish kingdom your family came from. And if you know the story your family carried out of Ireland, whether by ship during the famine, by force during the plantations, or by choice, share it, because those stories are the living continuation of everything on this list.